Hello friends, we shall study about the crop maize.
Maize or corn, you must be aware and you must be well versed with this crop. You must have eaten sweet corn, popcorn, everything, right? So there are different types of maize we shall discuss, and this maize belongs to the family Poaceae, that is grass family. And let's start with the importance of this crop. This is the world's third most important cereal crop after wheat and rice. In India, this series is quite a reverse one. In India, rice stands first, wheat second, and third maize. But in world, wheat stands first, and then rice, and then maize. But this maize is a non-tillering plant which has highest yielding capacity, means it ranks first among the cereals with respect to the average yield. You can see here maize can yield up to 5 or 6 tons, but the average yield here, that is 3.6 ton per hectare, rice 2.8 ton per hectare, wheat 1.6 ton per hectare, and millets 0.7 ton per hectare. So among all these grass family crops, you can see that maize is the one which is yielding high, right? So that is why this is called as a queen of cereals, because of its highest genetic yielding potential. Because of that, maize is known as queen of cereals, and this is primarily grown for the grain and secondarily for the raw materials for industrial purposes. So let's talk or know some of the industrial products out of maize. From maize we can extract alcohol, corn starch, that is dextrose or glucose, corn oil or corn syrup. It is used in canning industries, production of polymer, paper making, paper board making, bread making, and it ranks below wheat and sorghum but considerably above rice in nutrition. So when we are talking about this nutrition, we can say that wheat stands first, second is sorghum, third is maize, and fourth will be rice. So that is the part of nutrition. And this maize has about 10% protein, 70% carbohydrate, 4% oil, 2.3% crude fiber, and 10.4% albinoids. This is also called as backbone of America, since in America this is the staple crop and it is cultivated as a commercial crop rather than the grain. Just like unlike India or unlike Asian countries, in our country especially, we grow it mainly for grain purpose or fodder purpose. But in USA or America, what happens is they grow it on a commercial basis. Like they have so many processing industries. That's how that has become a commercial crop, and it is termed as a backbone. And the protein of maize is called as zein, which is deficient in two amino acids, lysine and tryptophan. It also has significant quantity of vitamin A, vitamin E, nicotinic acid, riboflavin, and it is low in calcium but high in phosphorus. It provides huge quantity of green fodder for the cattle, and several industries like starch milling industries are based on maize products and byproducts for processing. So that's about a little about industrial products. Now let's talk about this origin and history of the maize crop. It is believed that Central America and Mexico is found to be the primary center of origin for maize, and the progenitor of cultivated maize is believed to be this Teosinte Euclenia mexicana. That is a wild grass that is believed to be the wild progenitor of cultivated maize today. And from USA, the maize was introduced into many other countries like Spain, Europe, and many other continents, and finally in 17th century it was introduced into India. And let's talk about area and distribution. In the whole world, around 180 million hectares of area is under maize cultivation, and from that 180 million hectares of area, we are getting or producing around 980 million tons, and productivity is around, you can see, 5500 kg per hectare, that is 5.5 ton per hectare. But the major producing countries are USA, China, Brazil, Mexico, India, Romania and Philippines. These are the major maize producing countries. And when it comes to productivity or the average yield per hectare, Italy ranks first, that is having around 9,695 kg per hectare, that is almost near to 10 tons or 9 to 10 tons, you can take it as an average. So Italy stands first among the productivity, and it is followed by France. But in India, you can see here the average yield of India is very low, only 2,500 kg per hectare, that is 2.5 tons per hectare. So that is very low compared to the world average. And in India, maize is under on 9 million hectares and production of 22 million tons and productivity of 2.5 tons per hectare, as I told you earlier. And the major producing states are UP, Bihar, Rajasthan, MP, Karnataka, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and Maharashtra. These are the major maize growing states. And in India, area and production is high in Karnataka, and productivity Andhra Pradesh is leading, and then Tamil Nadu. About 99% of area in India is under hybrids. So hybrids are ruling nowadays. And now the important part of maize is this classification of maize. Classification of maize was given by Stuart Wendt based on the types of endosperms of the kernels, based on soft endosperm, hard endosperm, so combination of those two. Based on that, he classified classified maize into 7 types. So you can see here 7 types of maize: dent, fint, pop, flour, sweet, pod and waxy. These are 7 types of maize. So we shall discuss about each one of them a little. Before I go on explaining these different types of maize, I just want to be clear about the structure of the maize seed. So this is the cross-sectional area of maize seed, and you can see the different namings here. This is the endosperm, this is endosperm, and this is a growing embryo. So endosperm will nourish the growing embryo, and this endosperm has starch, and there are 2 types like soft starch and hard starch. Soft starch means amylase, hard starch means amylopectin. These 2 are the components of maize seed, amylase and amylopectin. So based on their content and variability, this corn is classified. So let's go to the first one, that is dent corn. Dent corn, the name is Zea mays indentata. How you can remember this is, in the name itself there is dent, indentata. So you can connect the words like that. This is called as dent corn because of the dent formation on the top of the kernel having yellow or white color. Okay, so each kernel or each seed, we call it as a kernel, and on each kernel you see some depression over here, depression or constriction. So that is called as a dent. That is this depression or dent is developed because of rapid drying and shrinkage of the soft starch. So you can see the picture here. This is the single seed of maize here, and you can see this depression here, right? So because of this depression, it is called as a dent maize. And you see the combination of the endosperm, hard starch, soft starch. Because of this soft starch, there will be shrinkage and drying during maturity. That is why this dent will be formed. That's why it is called as a dent corn, and it is widely grown in USA. And in exam, what happens, they will ask for where this dent corn is majorly grown. Sometimes the scientific names can be given, sometimes varieties can be given and asked to identify. So next one is this flint corn, that is Zea mays indurata. And these kernels are rounded on the top. These are not like dent corn, these are rounded on the top. They do not have any dent. And it is grown in Europe, Asia, Central America, South America. And it is the principal type of grain corn grown in India. So whatever the corn we grow in India, that is flint corn. And you see the grains over here, these have a rounded type. Here also you can see this is a rounded structure. It has a hard endosperm, a little of soft endosperm. So that's how it is, flint corn. And next one is this popcorn. Popcorn, all of you have must have eaten in the shops also. So the name is Zea mays everta. These popcorn, these have small kernels with hard corneous endosperm. Very small kernels compared to flint corn, and these have flinty endosperm that surrounds a small amount of soft moist starch in the center. So you can see here the structure of the grain. It is small and it has hard outside, a little of soft inside, and that also has this moisture will be there. And when this corn is heated at 150 to 170 degrees Celsius, this moisture inside the grain will be turned into steam, which expands, splits the pericarp and causes the endosperm to explode, turning the kernel inside out. So that is why we see a bigger popcorn, and they will be very light. So that's about popcorn, and it is grown in almost all the countries. And next one is this flour corn. Flour corn, the name is Zea mays amylacea. It resembles flint corn in appearance and ear characters. Grains are composed of soft starch mainly and have little or no dent. You can see the structure of seed over here. This does not have any such dent as such, like not a visible dent we have here, but it has a soft starch. That means flour corn has more amount of amylacea, not amylopectin. It has more amount of amylacea. This can also be asked in exam, which part of the endosperm or the starch, whether amylopectin or amylase is high in the grain. So that can also be asked. So you should be very careful while attempting the questions. And these kernels are soft and are of various colors. Mostly white and blue we can find in the flour corn. They are like fruit kernels in shape. It is widely grown in USA and South Africa. So this is about flour corn. The flour of corn, whatever we use today for preparation of many culinary dishes like gobi manchuri, we use corn flour there. So that is all made out of this flour corn only. Next one is this sweet corn. Sweet corn, the name is Zea mays saccharata. Sacchara means sugar content. So almost 20% of sugar will be present in this sweet corn, and this results in sweet taste before they attain maturity and in shrinkage after maturity. And these cobs are picked up green for canning and table purpose. You can see the structure of the seed over here. It has around most part of it is sugar. So that's how it gives a sweeter taste to the corn. Next one is this pod corn, that is Zea mays tunicata. This type is not a commercially grown maize type. Each kernel on the cob is enclosed in a pod or a husk. So it is not commercially grown. It is grown as an ornamental, that's all. So there is nothing much to tell about pod corn. And the next one and the last one is this waxy corn. Waxy corn, the name is Zea mays serratina, and these kernels have waxy appearance with gummy starch. This is mainly because of amylopectin. Amylopectin is the major component of the starch in waxy corn, whereas in flour corn, amylase is the main component. So you should not forget these things. This is originated from China, and in China only we can find this waxy corn. So that's about that was about different types of maize. Now let's know a little about growth stages of maize. The first one, as usual, the seedling phase. It starts, it will be between 1 to 15 days from sprouting to 2 to 4 leaves. So you can see the development of the seed here. It is a non-tillering plant. And the next stage is this vegetative stage or grand growth stage or knee-high stage, we can say. This knee-high stage is called because at this particular time, around 30 to 35 days after sowing, we can see that the plant is of knee height, near to knee height. So So this is the first critical stage for top dressing of nitrogen. Alright, so the third stage is of flowering stage. Flowering has a tasseling and silky stage that comes about between 40 to 65 days. Tasseling is the initiation of male flower and it bears terminally. So on each plant we can see one tassel, and this is the second critical stage for top dressing of nitrogen. Next is the silky stage. In flowering only, as I told you, this tasseling and silky stage comes, and tasseling is the male flower production and silky means the female reproductive part. So this is when the female flowers are formed, and these cobs are found at the axis of 11th to 13th leaf after formation of tassels. So this is the cob initiation stage. The silk like thing you see here, these are the styles of the female flower, and since there is the development of tassel first in the maize plant, it is called as a protandry because of the first emergence of male part in maize crop, and because of non-synchrony in the pollination and fertilization, the maize crop has a cross pollination as a major stream. You can see over here, this is the tassel. Tassel has anthers, glooms, so it will produce pollen grains, and this is the female reproductive part. This is called as an ear, and this is the silk. So leaf sheath, leaf blade, every leaf will be having. These are the primary roots. These are aerial roots or brace roots which come from the first node above the soil. These are called as brace roots. Actually, as I told you, maize is a non-tillering plant. If at all tiller is coming, it will not reproduce any cob. We do not find any cob in the tiller, and this is a corn seed, as you know. So that's about the morphology of the plant. Now the fourth stage is a maturity stage. After pollination and fertilization, it has to the seed has to be developed. So you can see the development of the seed in this picture, from very mild to getting very hard. So you know about the different stages of the grain, like first it will be liquid in condition, then milky stage, then duff stage, then hard duff stage. That's how the development of grain takes place. So after fertilization, this silk or the styles turns partially green and then brown, and then it dries off. So it dries off. After that, the plant dries off, and then the cob can be harvested. And the fifth stage is this ripening stage. Ripening means hard duff stage. So it comes between 90 to 105th days, fifth day. So that will be in between that. The moisture content of the grain will be reduced. The grain start getting hardened and harder, and you can see the structure of a hardened grain here. This is the pedicel or the flower stalk. This is the germ that is growing embryo, and soft starch and a hard starch will be there. This is the endosperm and pericarp or the hull or the outer covering. So that's about the different growth stages. Now let's go to soil requirement. Maize can be grown on a wide range of soils, but it prefers well drained fertile soils. The soil should be medium textures with good water holding capacity. It does not thrive well on heavy soils. Since the crop is sensitive to water logging, more water, that is why it is not suitable to grow on heavy soils. It can be grown successfully in a soils with pH range of 5.5 to 7.5. The alluvial soils of UP, Bihar, Punjab are most suitable for growing maize crop. So the soils with sandy loam to silty loam texture are best for the crop. Next, the climatic requirement. Maize is a warm weather loving crop, and it can be grown from sea level to about 3000 meter above mean sea level. It requires adequate moisture and warmth for germination. The minimum temperature for germination is 7 degrees Celsius, but the optimum is 21 degrees Celsius, and for its growth around 32 degrees Celsius. And maize cannot thrive well if high temperature persists for longer time. Also, it cannot withstand the frost, and it is very sensitive to water stagnation during early stages of the growth. That is why germination of maize seed is also one such critical stage. Crop prefers areas receiving an annual rainfall of 500 to 1000 mm. But it can be grown in heavy rainfall areas also, like Assam and West Bengal hills, where we get around 4000 mm of rainfall. But only thing we have to take care is non-flooding. The field should not be flooded. The crop needs more than 50% of its total water requirement in about 30 to 35 days after tasseling. So after tasseling, the water requirement increases. Otherwise, if there is inadequate soil moisture, means definitely it will affect the yield. And next we'll talk about this varietal improvement. So the systemic breeding work on maize started in 1957 with the establishment of All India Coordinated Research Project on Maize, which was funded by ICAR. Earlier it was a Project Directorate on Maize, which was at New Delhi. Now the name is changed to Indian Institute of Maize Research, and it is presently located in Ludhiana. So from 1957 the maize development process took the gear. So these maize varieties, these can be classified into hybrids, open pollinated varieties, composites, and local varieties. Hybrids, as you know, these hybrids are the combination from two pure lines, and composite means general selection will be there. So high yielding varieties will be selected. Among them the pollination and fertilization will be done. And open pollination means a single cross, the progeny of a single cross will be crossbred with any other variety, so that is open pollination. Local varieties means it depends on the region where these are grown. So the first hybrids which were developed in India, like Ganga Hybrid 1, Ganga Hybrid 101. So you can go through this high starch, it is actually a top cross bred line. This is a top cross line. And composites like Amber, Jawahar, Kisan, Vikram, Sona, Vijay, these were the first 6 composites which were developed in India. So based on this crop maturity, the maize cultivars are classified into 5 groups, like full season maturity up to 100 to 110 days, medium maturity 85 to 95 days, early maturity 80 to 85 days, which are suitable for sow or intercropping, very early 75 to 80 days, extra early less than 75 days. So these are suited for higher altitude areas, and it can tolerate these extra early maturing varieties can tolerate low temperature condition as well. So in 1961 these double cross hybrids such as Deccan, Ranjit, Ganga 1 and Ganga 101 and high starch, these were released. So from then the maize development took place. In 1965 IICRP this released 6 composites, as I have already told you, and in 1980 hybrid Deccan 103 for Kharif with 110 to 115 days duration was released. So this is a little of background of the varieties. Next is, you must be aware of this quality protein maize. Quality protein maize, it was actually developed to increase the lysine and tryptophan content of a maize grain. So during in 1970 and 1980 India led to release derivatives of OPEC2. This is a gene which is responsible for increasing the lysine and tryptophan content in the grain. So 3 varieties or hybrids were released, Shakti, Protina and Ratan, which contains high lysine and tryptophan but lesser amount of leucine and isoleucine. OPEC2 is the gene which is responsible for increasing these contents. Similarly, there are so many other varieties like Shaktiman 1 and 2 which are also released as quality protein maize. And next, the land preparation. As we know, the maize crop requires a seed bed which is friable, well aerated, moist and weed free to provide better contact between seed and soil. So as usual to any other crop, the land will be plowed up to the depth of 25 to 30 centimeter, then harrowed 2 to 3 harrowings, then leveling, then if irrigated area is there, then the land will be made into ridge and furrows. Otherwise it will be graded as such. So after preparing the land, FIM or compost will be applied at a rate of 7.5 tons per hectare for rain-fed maize and 10 tons per hectare for irrigated maize. So before sowing, before 2 to 3 weeks of sowing only, the land should be made properly made for the crop. Next, the seed rate, it varies with the different varieties and hybrids. So for varieties, 20 kg per hectare, hybrids 25 kg per hectare, composites 15 to 20 kg per hectare, and for fodder maize we have around 40 to 50 kg per hectare. And the normal spacing which is followed is of about 60 by 20 centimeter. And the population for varieties and hybrids, 6 to 7 plants per square meter, and for baby corn we have 8 to 9 plants per square meter. Seed treatment, we know the procedure of seed treatment. So it will be applied with fungicides and insecticides, and also it can be treated with biofertilizer also. You can see here the insecticide like chlorpyrifos and imidacloprid can be used, and fungicides like metalaxyl or thiram to control the downy mildew and crazy top, and seed treatment with fungicides like around 3 packets is required, and also as azospirillum application can be done. And then after seed treatment sowing, the seeds are dibbled at the depth of 4 centimeter in the furrow along with the fertilizer. If at all the seed germination capacity is low, then we can go for placing 2 seeds per hole. Otherwise single seed per hole is enough. And next, the nutrient management, it varies with the region, it varies with the soil condition. So in general this data or the recommendation is given here. For rain-fed areas, you see 150-25 is normal NPK, and for irrigated 150-65-65. And do not worry about the nutrient recommendation. Just remember the basic rule or the basic concept behind this NPK. So that will be very much useful to write any recommendation for the crop. Along with these primary nutrients, minor nutrients like micronutrients like zinc and iron can also be applied, since zinc deficiency in maize can cause white bud. That is because of the deficiency. So this nitrogen is applied in split doses, whereas phosphorus and potash are applied completely at the time of sowing. So quarter part of nitrogen can be applied at the time of sowing, 50% during the first critical stage, and next 25% during the next critical stage. So that's how this top dressing of nitrogen will be done. And next, this tilling and gap filling. Thinning, if at all 2 seeds are sown, we have to leave 1 healthy seedling per hole, and then we have to remove the other on 12th to 15th day. Okay, and if at all the seed which we have sown, it is not grown or germinated properly, then we have to go for gap filling. So for gap filling, we have to use the pre-soaked seeds, and should be sown at the rate of 2 seeds per hole. So that's how gap filling and thinning can be done, and that is done by 12th to 15th day after sowing. So that gives an idea. Otherwise, we can also the next operation like hoeing, hand weeding and earthing up. Hoeing and hand weeding can be done on 30th day of sowing, as the first initial days of the crop are very much sensitive for weed. So we have to be very careful while managing the weeds. And earthing up, so forming new ridges, and plants come directly on the top of the ridge. So this will provide additional anchorage, that is support to the plant. And the next is this water management. As I told you, maize is susceptible to both excess water and moisture stress. Maize cannot withstand water stagnation more than 6 hours. So we should never allow water to stand in maize field at any stage of its growth. And the minimum water requirement of this crop is of about 460 to 600 during its whole life cycle. And the critical stages of moisture stress are like germination, tasseling, silking, grain formation. So these four are the critical stages for moisture stress. Next is the weed management. Before we go for managing the weeds, we have to know what are the major weeds in the field. So you can note down the names of the weeds here: grassy, sedges and broad-leaved weeds. So Echinoclova colonna, Leucine indica, Cynodon, Sorghum hailpens, Setaria glauca. Sedge like cypress, broadleaf like Camelina, Celosia, Phyllanthus neruri. So these are some important weeds which we find in maize field. So what we can go for managing these is, one is manual weeding at 30th day after sowing. Otherwise we can go for herbicide application. The important pre-emergent herbicide used for maize is atrazine. Atrazine is used as a pre-emergent herbicide for maize. Otherwise post-emergent herbicides like 2,4-D, sodium salt, tembotrione, topramazone, these can be used as a post-emergent herbicides. Otherwise hand weeding and hoeing can be done 15 days after sowing if herbicide is not applied. And as we know, maize is having wider spacing, we can go for intercropping. If at all we are going for intercropping with pulse crop, then we should avoid this atrazine, because atrazine will kill the pulse crop. And this is the earthing up operation. So 1 or 2 earthing up during knee high stage to make ridges and furrows will provide support and acts as a drainage lines also. Next we'll come to this harvesting and yield. What is the stage of harvest? The sheath covering of the cob will turn yellow and dry at maturity. So this is the sheath cover that will dry, and the seeds become fairly hard and dry. So at this stage the crop is ready for harvest. And harvesting should be done by tearing off this cob sheath by using this gunny bag needle. Otherwise it can be done manually also. So carrying out the harvest operation at a single stage will be very easy for transportation. Whatever the yield, around 3 to 4 tons we can get, and stowers or the grass or the remaining stock of the plant, around 5 to 6 tons per hectare we can get. So this is a picture of maize combine harvester. After harvesting the cobs, it has to be threshed. Threshing is done manually or mechanically. So drying the cobs under sun till the grains are dry. Or we can use this mechanical thresher, or by running the tractors over the dry cobs also. After doing it, we have to clean the seeds by winnowing, and then the seeds can be stored. And the moisture percentage of the grain while storing should be around 10 to 12%. And now we shall learn about some recent advances in maize. Recent advances, you are aware of all these things. Only thing is we have to be very careful. Very careful during, while reading the things. One is this baby corn. Baby corn is nothing but the unfertilized young and immature cob harvested for vegetable purpose during silky stage. So that is called as a baby corn. So you will be aware of this baby corn manchuri and everything. So that is a unfertilized young cob. So this is nowadays it is under high attracting people. So it is specially used for preparation of soups, salad, Manchurian, canning purpose. Okay, so some varieties of baby corn are like Golden Baby, PAC 792, Pro Agro 4642, Shakti, and the spacing used for baby corn is 45 by 20 centimeter and 2 seedlings per hill. Since the crop will be harvested very soon, that is why the spacing is reduced and so 2 seedlings will be sown. And one important part or the operation that is done in this baby corn is this detasseling, removal of the male flower. So to avoid this fertilization or pollination, this is done. to discourage the tassel. So harvesting of the baby corn is done when the silk emerges, that is about 45 days after sowing, and crops are harvested every alternate days and they are removed and marketed. And the advantage of this detasseling process is we get cob out of it. Also we get straw, which is succulent and good fodder since it is harvested before 60 days after sowing. And the disadvantage of this detasseling process is this: it is a labor intensive process, and marketing of baby corn should be done immediately, otherwise the quality of the baby corn will be reduced. And next one is this fodder maize. I am not going deep into fodder maize, just explaining how actually it is developed. This fodder quality was improved by transferring BM3 gene, that is brown midrib gene, which is found to reduce the lignin content. If lignin content is high, it will affect the ruminants. That is why the lignin content has to be reduced, and this gene was introduced into the maize. So it led to a development of this variety, that is African tall. It is a famous variety or the hybrid of fodder maize. So the lignin content was lowered by 1 to 2% and protein content was increased by 1 to 2%. So the ruminants need more protein rather than the lignin content. So fodder maize and the seed rate, as I told you, 40 to 50 kg per hectare is the seed rate for fodder maize. And this is one disorder we find in maize crop, that is white bud of maize. That is due to the zinc deficiency. You can see the white color or yellowing chlorosis and also the stunting of the plants, maize plants. That is because of the zinc deficiency. And next we'll learn a little about some of important pests. One is shoot fly, that is Chilopartulus, and one more we have pink stem borer, which also eats the main central stem of the plant. And next is this RB worm. So you will find many pests for maize crop as such. So I am not going deep into the pest. Now the important diseases like rust, Puccinia sorghii, that is a fungal disease, and one is downy mildew, Perinoscleropora sorghii. So you have to remember the causal organism also, because that can also be asked as a part of your general agriculture. And next one is this crazy top. Crazy top, this is you can see over here that the male part or the growing part is completely affected, crazy top, and it is affected by Sclerospora macrospora. So these are some those were some important diseases. So that's all about the maize crop. Thank you.